everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my summer TBR, and then I thought I could also include some summer recommendations as well, because I know that a lot of other YouTubers tend to include that, and I feel like this year I don't have too many summary books on my TBR, but I have read a lot of really good summer books that I want to recommend to you guys that really just give you the summer vibes. And yeah, I feel like I have quite a few videos I want to post in the summer, so I feel like it would be better to just do one big summer TBR rather than doing separate ones for the months, especially because I need to read some of these books in summer because they're based in summer. So yeah, I will start with the summer TBR. So the first book, and the one I'm most excited for, is One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. This has been really widely talked about at the moment. I feel like everyone is loving it. It's kind of like a sequel to Every Summer After, which was one of my favourite romance books. I rated it 4.75 stars. I loved that book so much. And this is following the older brother of the main male character in Every Summer After. I think it's in the present day timeline of Every Summer After, maybe a little bit in the future. But I think I'm correct. I might be wrong, but I think that's right. And yeah, they live on a lake in is it Canada? I honestly can't remember where it is. I can't remember, but it's northern USA or Canada where they go to this lake house. But I think Charlie actually lives there, and it follows a romance there. And I'm honestly, this is the top of my TBR. I need to read this summer. I know I'm gonna love it. So that's my first one. Then probably my second highest on the TBR is Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. I loved Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan, but this one is obviously a bit more summery than Nora Goes Off Script. And I don't know what this is about. I feel like I want to go into it pretty blind, just because I feel like her books can be a bit similar. Not that I've read more than one, but just from what I've heard, they kind of do follow similar characters, if that makes sense. She tends to write older women characters, so it's nice. Obviously I don't relate to that, but it's nice as a change. I feel like recently books have started to have more older women as the romance main characters, which is nice. But yeah, I feel like Annabelle Monaghan does it really well, and she's just a really good writer, so this is so high on my list. The next book is Big Brother Still by Sarah Adams. You would have seen, I think, me reading Practice Makes Perfect in a vlog in maybe May or April. I really loved that one. I didn't love When in Rome, so this is the third book in the When in Rome series. I didn't love that one. I didn't hate it by any means, but I didn't love it. Practice Makes Perfect definitely was better in my opinion. I just preferred the characters. I feel like the characters in When in Rome weren't as strong as Practice Makes Perfect, but you see these two characters a lot. Well, not a lot, but quite a lot in Practice Makes Perfect, and you can kind of see the little flirty banter going on between them. So I'm really excited to read this one. I feel like I'm really in the mood for this, so that's partly why it's on my summer TBR, but I also feel like this is the kind of romance you want to read in spring or summer. The next one is How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwang. This one, again, another one that's quite widely talked about, and I feel like people do compare it to Emily Henry's writing, just because I know Yulin Kwang is working with Emily Henry, I think, on the People Will Meet on Vacation movie, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff together. I know I saw they're going on the Reese's Book Club podcast together, I think. And yeah, I'm honestly just really excited to read this one. It looks quite summery. It's got palm trees and stuff on it. Again, don't really know what it's about, but I think it's writers, they're both writers or something like that, just by the title. But yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I think I forgot to say, but we're starting with romance. I feel like that's obvious now, but we've got a few more romance. So I actually just finished Hopeless, which if you've been watching my videos, you know how I feel about it. I DNF'd it a while ago and I didn't love it. That's all I'm going to say. So I thought we could start is it called Rebel Blue Ranch series with Done and Dusted. I feel like a lot of people love this series. Maybe they don't have the same connection as I do to Chestnut Springs, but a lot of people love it. And it's obviously similar vibes in that it's a small town cowboy romance. Again, don't know much about it, but I do know that the series is pretty well loved. And again, cowboy romances definitely give me summer vibes. So next I have a series that I honestly feel like I haven't heard too much about. I have seen some people read it a couple years ago, but yeah, I haven't heard too much about it. And I'm going to say it's the Summer We Fell series, but I'm not 100% sure if that's what it's called. I've never really heard anyone talk about the like other books, but I have heard quite a few people, again, a while ago now, but speak about Summer We Fell. And it's just like a cute summer romance, I'm pretty sure. I feel like I might get to this one just if I want the summery vibes, because a couple of these other romances aren't like full summer vibes, and I feel like this one will be. But yeah, I think it's just like beachy romance vibes, and there's at least 3 books. I think there might be even more than 3 books. But those are my TBR. I feel like they're probably the lowest out of the romance, but I could pick up the Summer We Fell if I want like a really beachy one. Then I have 2 thrillers. I quite like reading thrillers in the summer just because I'm very much an autumn person and I like to kind of get into that vibe. I also feel like summer thrillers are some of the best ones, just the vibes of them. So I've got 2. I've got The Summer Girl by Jenny Blackhurst. This one I honestly have not seen anyone read. I think I saw it recommended on like one of the Goodreads things last year, and I just picked it up and I have no idea what it's about. I've just had a look, and the main character is working on Martha's Vineyard. So that's all I know, but it's going to be like a thriller, I'm guessing. And yeah, I feel like this one is pretty high just because it's obviously quite summer themed, and I would like to break up the romance with a thriller. And then the other one is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This has been on my TBR quite a lot, and I've had it for a while now, so I really want to get to this one. I don't think it's too summery, but obviously it's like a lake house. I'm pretty sure the main character like goes to a lake house that's like owned by her family or something, and then she sees something going on in the house across the lake with like a couple. That's all I know, but it sounds very intriguing. So again, pretty high on my list. Then for like a literary fiction kind of book, I've got The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Again, I think this has been on my TBR quite a lot for this year, and I just haven't got to it. My mum read it and quite enjoyed it, and I feel like it's just quite like a well-known book, and I would quite like to get to it. I have got into literary fiction more this year, so this is an exciting one. And then finally, I've got 2 like non-fiction books. So I've got My Body by Emily Ratajkowski. This one I am quite intrigued by just because obviously Emily Ratajkowski is a very beautiful woman who has kind of been objectified a little bit in the world, I guess. And I think she's kind of talking about her perspective on that, and that's just quite interesting to me. I don't know why it's giving me summer vibes. I think because I always see pictures of this like on the beach, but yeah, this one's quite high on my list. I feel like it would be a very much I just bring it along and happen to read it book. And then the final one is The Rural Diaries by Hilary Burton Morgan. This is by one of the actresses in One Tree Hill, which is one of my favourite shows. And yeah, honestly, it just kind of has summer vibes. It's about her life living on a farm, and just like it's just like a bit of a memoir, but I think she kind of gives like tips and tricks and like stories of living on the farm. She's married to Dean Morgan. I can't remember if that's his name, but like he's quite a famous actor. He was in I think The Walking Dead. That's like his most popular thing. And yeah, I like reading memoirs and stuff. So this was pretty high. I don't know if I'll get to it, but it's on my TBR. So then moving on to my recommendations, I have quite a few, but one of them is a series, and I feel like you're all gonna know what this is gonna be. It's the Summer I Turn Pretty series. This one I read obviously a little while ago now, but it's if you want summer vibes, this is honestly the best series for summer vibes. It's definitely young adult, like it kind of reminds you of your summers as like a younger teenager kind of vibe. But I honestly, it's like the best summer vibes. I think it's based in I can't remember the island's name, but it's on an island in like Massachusetts or something like that, or like a little coastal town in Massachusetts. And obviously, it's a little bit of a romance going on, but it's also just like being a big family, but within friends, if that makes sense. And obviously, it's just such a good series. If you haven't watched it as well, the series on is it Amazon Prime? I'm not sure. It's really good. Next one that really has summery vibes is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I read this years ago, so I would love to give it a reread because I think I rated it 4 stars. And I do remember quite a lot of it considering I read it so long ago. It's like a fake dating romance. It's between 2 people that kind of hated each other, and then they basically think they're the best man and the maid of honor in a wedding, and then everyone gets food poisoning and they have to go on the honeymoon. but they don't like each other, and it's in Hawaii, I think. So very summery vibes. They do lots of like fun summer things like snorkeling, that kind of thing. And I feel like the setting was very well described in this book. I wouldn't say it's like the strongest romance, but I did quite enjoy it, so I would recommend for summer vibes. Next, I have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, obviously the first book before One Golden Summer that I talked about earlier. As you know, I love this book. It's very emotional romance, but it's really good for summer vibes, kind of similar to The Summer I Turned Pretty, but obviously a bit not really young adult. It's just really good, like beach house on the lake vibes. They start off childhood friends to lovers, and then they have a second chance. Then I chose two Emily Henry books that I feel like have the most summer vibes. Obviously, Emily Henry is my favorite author. She's very like widely recommended, and obviously I'm going to recommend her. But these are the two books I think are the most summery. It's People We Meet on Vacation and Happy Place. They're very different vibes. You and Me, or People We Meet on Vacation, is pretty much just a romance, and it's like friends to lovers, but they kind of fall out and then get back together kind of thing. And it's just very like summery. They go on holidays every year, the friends, and you see that in the past, and then in the present timeline they're in Palm Springs, so it's quite a summery book. I think it's probably her most summery and probably her most just romance book of all of them, but I would recommend it. And then obviously Happy Place, I feel like everyone has heard about Happy Place. It's more of an emotional book, it's a bit less romance centered, but it's still very summery. They're still on like a beach house again, and it's more about like the friend group and growing is as a couple kind of thing. And yeah, I feel like everyone knows about this, so I'm not going to talk too much, but it's still very summery vibes. And then I feel like this is one that's always recommended, but I'm going to double down on it, and it's Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one is based on the California coast. It's about a group of adults, I guess, at this point. They're all siblings, and they are the child of a famous singer, I'm pretty sure. What was his name? Nick River? Mick River? Mick River, yeah. He was actually one of Evelyn Hugo's husbands from Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And yeah, you just follow kind of his story a little bit with like his marriage. Obviously, he had multiple marriages. And you follow the siblings, and it's based in Malibu. It's just very summery. I think one of the siblings is like a tennis player. One of them works like surfing or something like that, or like likes a girl that's surfing. I can't quite remember. Very summery vibes. I really recommend this one. Then an author that I feel like is constantly recommended for summer is Ellen Hildebrand. I read The Perfect Couple last summer just because I knew the TV show was coming out, and I wanted to get to it before I watched the TV show. And I feel like this is a really good summery book. It's kind of literary fiction, kind of mystery. There's a little bit of romance going on, but it's just really good for like drama, I guess. And it's set on Nantucket, I believe, or it might be Martha's Vineyard. Yeah, Nantucket. It's like a big rich family. They live in a big mansion on the sea, and then one of the sons is getting married, but then the soon to be wife, is found dead. And that's the story. And next is a book that I feel like I haven't heard talk about for a while. I remember seeing Sarah Crowley and Lauren's Reading Corner talking about it a couple years ago. And it's Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. This was a book I read again quite a long time ago now. It follows Mary Jane. She's from like a conservative family. She's an only child. I think it's like the 1970s. Yeah, 1970s in Baltimore. And she gets a job as a nanny for a more like progressive family. So I think the dad is like a music producer or something like that, and he's Jewish. And the mum is kind of like a bit crazy and like free hippie kind of vibes. And they have a child, obviously, who's being babysat, and then they also have a famous couple, and one of them's a musician, come and stay in the house as well. Mary Jane is just kind of exposed to all of that, and she's obviously not used to that as being from a conservative Christian family. And yeah, it's quite summery just because it's based in summer, and I think they go to the beach a couple of times, but it's also very coming of age, and I feel like that is a very summery kind of theme. And then finally, as I said, I love a thriller in the summer, so I have two to recommend. The first one is The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. I read this last summer. It basically follows two friends that are kind of drifted apart a little bit, and they go to a villa in Italy, and they're both writers, I'm pretty sure, and then they both end up wanting to write stories, and they both end up writing kind of the same story about a murder that took place in the villa years ago, and there might be like a little bit of a curse on the villa. That's all I'll say. It's very summer vibes, obviously, because it's based in Italy. It's kind of Tuscany, I think, vibes. And yeah, it's just very good summer thriller. And my last recommendation, which is also a thriller, is One of the Girls by Lucy Clark. This one I read a few years ago now, but it basically follows a hen do, or I don't know, bachelorette, I think that's what Americans call it, who go to an island in Greece. They stay in a villa and someone end up getting murdered, and you follow each woman's point of view, and there's like other stuff going on. There's a couple there that are kind of drifting apart. A few of them were really close friends and they're drifting apart. And yeah, it's really good. I feel like it's not talked about that much, but it's a really good summer thriller. It's obviously based in Greece, so European summer vibes. And yeah, so those are all my summer TBR and summer recommendations for this summer. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got some recommendations out of this, because all of the books I recommended are very summery and have made me feel summery. And hopefully some of the books that I have on my TBR will make me feel that way. I'm not sure if all of them will. The recommendations were very summery, but I'm really excited to get through these. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.